and that is a fault. But fancy getting in touch with a friend of Dante's. What would one not give? Tell me, what is this princess like? Is she the sort of person one could ask to dinner?" Georgie was still sore over the irony to which he had been treated. He had, moreover, the solid fact behind him that Daisy Quantock, Margherita, had declared that in no circumstances would she permit Lucia to annex her princess. She had forgiven Lucia for annexing the Guru, and considering that she had only annexed a curry cook, it was not so difficult, but she was quite determined to run her princess herself. "Yes, you might ask her," he said. If irony was going about, there was no reason why he should not have a share. Lucia bounced from her seat as if it had been a spring cushion. "We will have a little party," she said. "We three, and dear Daisy and her husband and the princess. I think that will be enough. Psychics hate a crowd because it disturbs the influences. Mind, I do not say I believe in her power yet, but I am quite open-minded. I should like to be convinced. Let me see, we are doing nothing tomorrow. Let us have our little dinner tomorrow. I will send a line to dear Daisy at once, and say how enormously your account of the séance has interested me. I should like dear Daisy to have something to console her for that terrible fiasco about her Guru. And then, Giorgino mio, I will listen to your Debussy. Do not expect anything. If it seems to me formless, I shall say so, but if it seems to me promising, I shall be equally frank. Perhaps it is great. I cannot tell about that till I have heard it. Let me write my note first." That was soon done, and Lucia, having sent it by hand, came into the music room and drew down the blinds over the window through which the autumn sun was streaming. Very little art, as she had once said, would stand daylight. Only Shakespeare or Dante or Beethoven, and perhaps Bach, could compete with the sun. Georgie, for his part, would have liked rather more light, but after all Debussy wrote such very odd chords and sequences that it was not necessary to wear his spectacles. Lucia sat in a high chair near the piano, with her chin in her hand, tremendously erect. Georgie took off his rings and laid them on the candle bracket, and ran his hands nimbly over the piano. "Poisson d'or," he said. "Goldfish." "Yes, pesci d'oro," said Lucia, explaining it to Peppino. Lucia's face changed as the elusive music proceeded. The far-away look died away and became puzzled. Her chin came out of her hand, and the hand it came out of covered her eyes. Before Georgie had got to the end, the answer to her note came, and she sat with it in her hand, which, released from covering her eyes, tried to beat time. On the last note she got up with a regretful sigh. "Is it finished?" she asked. "And yet I feel inclined to say, when is it going to begin? I haven't been fed, I haven't drank in anything. Yes, I warned you I should be quite candid, and there's my verdict. I am sorry, me very sorry, but you played it, I am sure, beautifully, Giorgino. You were a buono avvocato. You said all that could be said for your client. Shall I open this note before we discuss it more fully? Give Giorgino a cigarette, Peppino. I'm sure he deserves one after all those accidentals." She pulled up the blind again in order to read her note, and as she read her face clouded. "Ah, I'm sorry for that," she said. "Peppino, the princess does not go out in the evening. They always have a séance there. I dare say Daisy means to ask us some evening soon. We will keep an evening or two open. 'Tis a long time since I've seen dear Daisy. I will pop around this afternoon." End of chapter.